All right, shout out to the mighty Who That Nation, man. Big Q, Sports Coma in the building, man. Shout out to you guys. And this broadcast is brought to you by FanDuel, man. Get your prop bets in at FanDuel, man. All the latest are available for you. We'll get into the numbers at the end of the broadcast. With that being said, man, we open the broadcast up, man. Talking about the black and gold, man. The 10 biggest Saints training camp battles to watch coming up in a few weeks. We're getting very close, man. To the start of the New Orleans Saints season, in which the training camp will be opening up, and that'll be real positive to see us get back to business again. So with that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hype the stream, share the show, hit the sub button, and join us in our race to 15,000 plus. With that being said, let's open it up with this article right here by the 10 biggest Saints battles to look out for in this upcoming season. So let's look into the broadcast right here and start off with it. And of course, it's from whothatdaily.com. Y'all can feel free to check it out. But it basically, we're talking about what to look out for. A lot of interesting battles that's going to occur for the New Orleans Saints coming into this season. And this is some of the ones. So we know that the Saints entering with some optimism surrounding Tyler Shough. You're looking at the new explosive potentiality of Kellen Moore's offense in his second year. And several jobs remain unsettled, creating some fierce competition throughout this roster. Now, the 10 biggest Saints training camp battles to watch heading into the 26th season is as shown. Spencer Rattler and Zach Wilson. That's the QB battle 2 mode, right? Tyler Shough enters camp firmly entrenched as the Saints starting quarterback for an impressive rookie campaign that saw him post an impressive winning record. That's the first time in Saints history that a rookie quarterback posted a winning record. And the way he did it, he broke several records. Archie Manning's passing records, I think a couple of touchdown records, just phenomenal. That kind of, and I like to throw that out there because it's not like it was done like a lot of people would then say, oh, well, he's just the regular. Nothing that he did in his rookie campaign was regular. Nothing, none of it. So we know what we're looking at. So however, the battle for the backup job remains wide open. Spencer Rattler possessed valuable experience with the offense, started 13 games. Former number 2 overall pick Zach Wilson arrives to resurrect his career. Hunter Dekkers is also in the mix as well in terms of the third quarterback, or the fourth quarterback rather. Camp on, the winner could become the NFL's most important backup quarterbacks. The loser may find himself fighting for a roster spot. So with that being said, when you face off against, so when we looking at with the backup quarterback back position, you'll find that Hunter Dekkers more than likely has had to head to the practice squad. But Spencer Rattler and Zach Wilson's interesting because Wilson is a veteran quarterback that was, like we said, number 2 pick several years ago. And it's an interesting selection for Kellen Moore to bring this man in here to compete with Spencer Rattler. You were thinking it'll be a veteran, an older veteran, but this guy is like, it's something that he's seeing Zach Wilson that he thinks he can work with. So Spencer against Zach Wilson will be interesting. It's like one of these situations where that is very important. Anytime you're talking about your backup quarterback position, God forbid anything happens to our starter, but you would like to be in the hands of a quarterback that knows the system, that can run the system, that we can have faith and confidence in. Zach Wilson hadn't put too much confidence in people since he's been here. Spencer Rattler's been quiet last year, since not having a good, losing the QB job to Tyler Shough and fall into the number 2 quarterback. Not a bad position to be. A lot of trade rumors at first was circulating about Spencer Rattler, but if he loses Zach Wilson's job, use the backup job to Zach Wilson, you best believe that there could be some trades coming for Spencer Rattler. But if anything, man, I do like Spencer over Zach Wilson. I think he has the edge, obviously. The second thing to watch, Kendre Miller versus Devin Neal. This is the RB3 battle. Few Saints players enter the training camp under more pressure than Kendre Miller. The former third-round pick enters the final year of his rookie contract after injuries and inconsistencies have limited his development. Meanwhile, second-year running back Devin Neal returns with considerable momentum. The Saints' current running back hierarchy appears to be Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara, Devin Mill, Kendre Miller, Audric Estime, Ty Chandler, and the undrafted running back from Ohio State, C.J. Donaldson. Miller must prove he can stay healthy and consistent to produce. If not, New Orleans may decide to move forward with younger options, which is interesting because I think a lot of people have, I ain't gonna say given up on Kendre Miller, but it's really deflating every year that this guy not only misses games, like a few games here or there, he actually misses swats of games. If he gets hurt, he misses 5-6 games, half the season, this sort of thing. Getting hurt is one thing. You miss a game, a little time here or there, you bounce back, you come back. But when you missing as much time as Kendre Miller did, then the momentum backing him dissipates because he fastly, assumes the name as an injury prone player, and that ain't a good tag to be on. The next move, Charlie Smith versus Tanner Brown. This is an interesting, the kicker battle is going to be interesting. Saints have the most intriguing special teams battle in years. Charlie Smith returns boasting elite leg strength and immense upside. However, Tanner Brown arrives following a spectacular United Football League campaign. He helped the Louisville Kings to a championship while earning the 2026 UFL Special Teams Player of the Year honors. He became the first professional kicker in history to convert 2 field goals from 60-plus yards in the same game, including a remarkable 63-yard field goal during the playoffs. So he was big in the clutch. He converted 25 of 28 for 89% plus during the regular season and finished 4 for 4 in postseason play. That's impeccable. The Saints traditionally value consistency, making one of the camp's most fascinating battles. They did offer Charlie Smith last year a 3-year contract, but they've given Tanner Brown a multi-year agreement as well. And the best way they're going to do it is just decide in a head-to-head battle. This is what Kellen Moore is trying to do. He's trying to find the next kicker to lead the campaign. And man, that's going to be big because a lot of people like Charlie Smith. But what Tanner Brown did with the Louisville Kings, and I know that's not NFL kicking, the crowds are different, but nonetheless, it's still very intriguing. The number 4th battle, Bub Means versus Jalen Polk versus Bryce Lance versus Barryon Brown. That's the wide receiver depth. The Saints possess one of the deepest wide receiver rooms in recent memory. Chris Olave, Jordyn Tyson, and Divine Vele are safe. Everything behind them remains fluid. Third-year receiver Bub Means must bounce back from an injury-shortened sophomore campaign, while Jalen Polk is looking to revive his NFL career of an underwhelming couple of seasons. Meanwhile, Bryce Lance, Barryon Brown bring youth, upside, and significant special teams value. Versatility may ultimately decide who survives the final roster cuts. I did a show where I pretty much talked about having 6 wide receivers. I agreed upon 6 wide receivers. I could see the Saints this year coming into the 53-man roster having 6 wideouts. The aforementioned Olave, Tyson, and Vele, followed by Polk, Lance, and Barryon Brown. I can see that happening. Now, of course, they're going to be some situation where there'll be injuries that impact the room, and we'll see how that falls. But, 13 wide receivers, I believe, is in the mix, and that wide receiver room is the most competitive room we have on the team. Number 5, Jeremiah Wright versus veteran interior offensive line depth. The Saints drafted Jeremiah to compete immediately. I don't know if to say immediately. They're not going to rush Jeremiah Wright, the big offensive lineman from Auburn, into action. They're not going to do it. There's no need to do that right now. They're going to still give the ability to Cesar Salad Ruiz to be able to figure out what he needs to do to get better. The Saints are willing to do that. But anything short of that could really kind of kick things into high gear for Jeremiah Wright, to be honest with you, at that right side. So we shall see how that looks going forward. All right. So anyway, Wright enters the camp looking to push for some player time in the interior offensive line. Veteran understands that no job is guaranteed under Kellen Moore. Strong preseason for Wright could dramatically reshape the offensive line depth chart. And the reality is, if he does, let's say if there's no pressure on him to perform, but let's just comes out and say that he just runs and just dominates, then that kind of puts you in the mind, because really, I don't expect him to get rid of Cesar Ruiz. I actually think Cesar Ruiz will do better than we've seen him do in years, just simply because the spotlight is on him. He got 2 years remaining on the contract. The spotlight is on him. He has every incentive to be better. He has his replacement here. So I expect him to play better than I ever seen, because Jeremiah Wright's there. And the Saints need money. And he is the third largest of the cap hits when we get to talking about money and cap. It's Chris Olave, obviously, with his 5th-year option at 15.4. Alvin Kamara at 10 plus. And then, of course, you have Cesar Ruiz at 9 something or whatever it is. So, I mean, the Saints looking for money. He better step it up. Number 6, Isaac Yiadom versus Martin Emerson Jr. at the cornerback situation. Now, Yiadom returns on a 3-year contract in the second year of it, worth $9 million, but his role is far from secure. Emerson Jr. offers a younger player with significant upsides, while other defensive backs provide valuable special teams contribution at lower cost. With future contract extensions looming, veteran contracts will face increased scrutiny. Same thing with the Cesar Ruiz contract. Same with Isaac Yiadom, Divine Gacho, Nate Shepard. With needing money to cover over to, the funnel to Chris Olave to get his deal done, a lot of these guys are being looked at. A lot of these guys. The Isaac Yiadom making $9 million on a 3-year contract, and Martin Emerson has a higher upside and a cheaper dollar money amount. This could not end well for Isaac Yiadom. Plus, he's not, a great special teams player. And if he's going to be on his team, more than likely, he's going to be competing for the fourth cornerback position, which would put him and Martin Emerson in direct conflict with each other, because the third cornerback position is the nickel or the star role, the star role player, which is Jonas Sanker. So the fourth player will more than likely be Emerson or Yiadom. If Yiadom loses that battle, I don't know why would justifies them keeping him as that high paid fifth cornerback. And it's just not going to cut it when you got, TJ, what was his name? TJ Parker and the rest of these guys, Styles and all these guys, Lorenzo Styles, all these other guys, these young cornerbacks and DBs that do play special teams. Why would you keep Isaac Yiadom? So if he don't win the battle against Emerson, I think he's pretty much going to get the shaft, if you know what I mean. Number 7, Tyree Wilson versus Anthony Jennings. These are 2 players we acquired, one via trade, one of our 5th-round draft picks from the Raiders during the draft, and the other one after the draft. While Chase Young and Cam headline the edge room, don't forget Granderson. Behind them, Tyree Wilson and Anthony Jennings will battle for the rotational snaps. Wilson offers 1st-round pedigree and enormous upside. Jennings brings physicality, experience, and reliability, plus others like Chris Rump II, second-year pass rusher Fadil Diggs also add to the competition on the opposite side. Whoever wins the battle becomes a major contributor in Brandon Staley's defense. Divine Gacho, number 8 versus Christian Miller, interior defensive line, veteran nose tackle. Divine Gacho enters the final year of his contract, facing tremendous pressure. 2nd-round pick Christian Miller is expected to immediately challenge for snaps once healthy. Remember, the Saints have been kind of really operating with kid gloves with Christian Miller. So he's been having this, not much difficulty. These little, same thing with a lot of other draft picks. They have little nagging stuff going on, and they handle them with kid gloves. So when the time comes, these guys will be ready when the reps matter. But additional challenges include Christian Boyd, who's on the final year of his rookie deal, Vernon Brockton, who's in the 2nd year of his 3rd-round agreement, which we covered him in another show, and how Vernon Brockton is ready to go. John Ridgway signed a 2-year agreement to re-up with the team, and Xavier Harris, that's the 6'6", 320-pound plus player the Saints picked up from Ole Miss in the undrafted ranks. He's been dealing with a few nagging injuries, but we'd love to see what he does in the mix. So the Saints clearly want to become younger and more athletic up front. Divine Gacho must prove he still deserves a significant role. Also, veteran defensive tackle Nate Shepard is in the mix with 1 year remaining on his deal. Shepard has outperformed in comparison to Gacho on defense, but time will tell what happens there. So, yes, the Saints want to get better. Both Divine Gacho and Nate Shepard are on final 1-year agreements. But there's a lot of question marks about the guys we have. Vernon Brockton, what is he? And what is Christian Miller? We know they were good players at the collegiate level, but can they be solid pros for the Saints? starters, almost starters or semi-starters. Number 9, Oscar Delp versus Noah Fant, the receiving tight end role. So the veteran tight end rather, Noah Fant enters the camp as a favorite to take the second position. Juwan Johnson obviously is the starter. However, Oscar Delp will be one of the most closely watched players in camp. Delp's development could drastically improve Kellen Moore's how he deploys his offense in the second year. If Delp progresses quickly, expect more 2 tight end formations, which is what it's looking like. And I think that's one of the things that the Saints are really looking at. And selecting Oscar Delp with this year's 3rd round draft pick was big because a lot of people kind of had him going like in the 4th round, something like that. But Kellen Moore seen, even though they didn't even use Oscar Delp like that in Georgia. But the reality is when he caught the ball, he made things happen. He had some athleticism to him. He's a big tight end, but he's not a big, wide, clunky guy. He's an athletic, long tight end who can get places. So he might be one of the most athletic, gifted tight ends that we've seen in a long time here in New Orleans. And obviously, if he had some bumps and bruises in OTAs, he got well enough to kind of hit it and run. They're really positioning Oscar Delp like he would be the second tight end with Juwan Johnson. Remember, both Juwan Johnson and Noah Fant, the veterans, have 2 years remaining on the agreements. Oscar Delp, if he steps in there, this can be huge. I even see, you see more of the 2 tight end rotations. I could definitely see that. But in the end, 3 tight end rotations, 4 tight end rotations in the red zone, all of that is going down in the city, man. Let me tell you something. And we got to watch him. But I like Oscar Delp. I like what I've been seeing. And, of course, number 10, the return specialist battle. Obviously, the kick return, punt return. Saints have heavily invested in rebuilding their special teams unit. Rookie Barrion Brown enters camp as the favorite to secure return duties. The former LSU standout was one of college football's most dangerous return specialists and may have the clearest path to the active roster through special teams. This is true. Mason Tipton remains his biggest challenger. Tipton trying to get in there. There are also additional return people possibilities. Trey Palmer, Ronnie Bell, and maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry. We heard his name thrown there. So special team coordinator Phil Galliano faces enormous pressure to improve the field position metrics. He really was, because there were questions about people saying that Phil Galliano should be terminated. He should have been fired out of special teams play. But remember, the Saints, despite all of the stuff that we've seen happen with the offense and the defense, like all of the draft picks and the money put toward the offense and the defense, the Saints did pay a great deal of attention to the special teams as well, because they paid a lot of good money for the punter. And Ryan Wright, former Minnesota Viking, he's there now. We had to got a better punter. You got rid of Groupie from last year. You got Charlie Smith here, but they got Tanner Brown to challenge him for that job. And if this experiment fails, then you can see the Saints next year more than likely just signing a guy in free agency like they did the punter role and just be done with it. Now they focusing on the kick returner and punt returner side of things and have that metric where we could flip the field. We have not utilized that. That's been a tremendous flaw in the design. Now they've done a decent job in coverage, but in terms of us punt returning and kick returning, we need to improve there. Our numbers are near at the bottom of the league in these categories, and that has to change. Or Phil Galliano will be shown the door. Remember, he's a holdover that, he was the assistant for the Mr. Raspy. I forget his name. Y'all put his he's a special team coordinator with Sean Payton in Denver. But he was his assistant, and now at some point you might see Kellen say, man, I need to find my own guy if he don't improve. And of course, the final thoughts, the Saints enter training camp with significant more depth and competition than they possessed a year ago. That's an excellent news for Kellen Moore and the coaching staff. What's the downsides? Difficult decisions are coming on who's going to be here or there. Now, how the Saints training camp battles unfold could ultimately determine whether New Orleans returns to playoff contention in 2026. That says a lot. That says a lot. So can the Saints, and they've equipped themselves well in the second year. You had the thought process of culture, like changing the culture, implementing system, implementing ID. They have the ID, the identity now They have the quarterback. We didn't have that last year. We had to figure who the guy was. We got it now to the point where the Saints spent money on the offensive line, draft capital and wide receivers. They all kind of stuff to improve areas they felt like they needed to improve. And time will tell, man, if this was the right decision for the team going forward. So what do you guys think in the chat? Y'all let me know in the chat how y'all feel about what the New Orleans Saints have done, man, in terms of them adding all of these players in the battle. What particular battle you guys see from your perspective that you'll be paying attention to? Put in the comment section and let me know what y'all think on that thing, right? All right, now it's time for FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show, as they show you some of the odds. This is 2027 NFC Championship winner odds according to Vegas and what is showing on FanDuel Sportsbook, man. You can see the Rams plus 290 there, Seattle followed by San Fran, Detroit, Philly, Green Bay, Dallas, Chicago at plus 14. So as you can see, these are some of the odds. I expect this stuff to change going into the season in terms of the New Orleans Saints concerned, but this is what it is currently, as the Saints are seen basically as for much of it an underdog. A lot of people not seeing them, and that's just fine. But this is what we got at FanDuel. Please feel free to go to FanDuel Sportsbook and get your prop bets in, whether it's this from the NFL, the NBA, boxing, doesn't matter. FanDuel got you covered. All right, so with that being said, man, listen, I appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Hit the like button, hype the stream, share the show, hit the subscribe button too to help us press past 15,000 subscribers. And hey, man, this is what we dealing with here in New Orleans. Listen, that's all I got. I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love, peace, and we'll tell you.
Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? Who that?
Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with thehootitdaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit thehootdatdaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation.
Welcome to The Pro Shop, where we create authentic, NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping The Pro Shop, The Pel Shop, or The Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.